Okay, now we're going to look at complex numbers. And we're going to start by defining the imaginary unit I. And so I is defined as the square root of -1, so that I squared is equal to -1. Okay, so it's not a real number, but it's going to make solving equations much simpler. And it really is the natural thing if you're going to work in algebra to work with the complex numbers. So complex numbers are the set of all numbers of the form a plus bi, where a is the real part and b is the imaginary part. Okay, but a and b are both real numbers, but because you have the a plus bi, I guess the bi is the imaginary part. Okay, so now we're going to look at an example of how to add and subtract complex numbers. And essentially you do it the exact same way you add real numbers, it's just that you group like terms. So you kind of treat the I like a variable. So if this was 5 minus 2x plus 3 plus 3x, you'd know exactly what to do, and it's the exact same operation here. So this is 5 plus 3 minus 2i plus 3i. So what you're going to do is you're going to group the like terms. So you get 8 and then plus I, because negative 2i plus 3i is just I. Okay, and in part B, maybe you should pause the video and try and do it on your own and then check your work. You should get this is equal to 2 minus 12, because you need to distribute that negative sign in there, and then you have a 6i, and then a negative sign times that negative sign is going to give you a plus I. So this is 6i plus I, and again that's because you distribute that negative sign in. Okay, so that's going to be negative 10 plus 7i. Okay, now when multiplying complex numbers, you multiply just like normal and you simplify, but you need to remember that I squared is equal to -1 by definition. So let's do this first example. We want to distribute 7i into 2 minus 9i. So that's going to be 7i times 2 minus 7i times 9i. Well, that's going to be 14i, and then that's going to be minus, what, 63i squared. And then when we remember that I squared is -1, you get that this is 63 times -1, so that's 14i plus 63. Okay, and in part B you're going to want to FOIL, so maybe you should take a second to try and do that on your own. Just pause the video, do it on your own, and then check your work compared to what I'm about to do. So when we FOIL, we're going to do first, outside, inside, and last. So first is 5 times 6, it's going to be 30, and then outside is going to be 5 times -7i, so that's going to be plus 5 times -7i, and then plus the inside, which is 4i times 6, and then finally the last is going to be 4i times -7i. And now we're going to simplify that. So this is 30 minus 35i plus 24i, and then finally minus 28i squared. And now if you remember that I squared is -1, this is going to be 30 minus, okay, so we can group the 35i and the 24i, so that's a -11i, and then remember that I squared is -1, so that's going to be plus 28, so you get 30 plus 28 is 58. So maybe I'll group it like that, minus 11i, so that's 58 minus 11i.